In a prior video, we reviewed how to price a home compared to the comparables. In this video, we are going to discuss how to use the market statistics for homes that are similar to the subject property in order to help your buyer determine how much to offer on the home. That will be determined by how well priced is the home and is there competition for the home? So has it been on the market for a short amount of time? And or are there any offers on the table or any expected? So of course you'll want to talk to the listing agent and find out the context in which you're making the offer. So if there are other offers or interested buyers, and also what generally happens in this market for homes of its kind. So 2306 Diamond Street in Wilmington was the subject property. So let's just click into it, and as a refresher, we'll look at some of the statistics. Just first off, I'm going to copy the address so that I can paste it later in my search. So we remember it's a 3-bed, 2-bath house, 1,600 square feet, built in 1940. It's a Cape Cod, it has central air, and it does have a finished basement, public water, public sewer. Almost 6,100 square feet in lot size, and about 6-car parking, including one in a garage. Okay, and if it's helpful, go to Actions, Print, and then from there you can select Print to PDF, and it will open up a separate window showing you the property specifics like beds, baths, etc. And if you choose to have all the pictures printed with that PDF, then you'll have that there. So we'll go back to the results, and we'll actually go to search. And I'm just going to start by pinpointing this property on the map. And again, we discussed looking at homes that are in the similar neighborhood, and just depending on how many homes we find in a certain price range or bracket, we may include a larger area. So if you look at the pattern of the streets here, it looks very similar to the here. So if you're not finding enough results here, you may also choose to look over here. In our last video, we had selected the zip code and the school district boundaries and noted that this rail line does have a zip code change, but it still seems to be in the same school district. So let's just double check that. Yeah, Red Clay Consolidated. Okay. So I'm just trying to look in as small an area as possible. So we'll just start with creating a polygon shape using the natural boundaries, using the walking the dog test. I would not walk my dog across this little creek or river. I don't even know if it's even passable or even public. So I'm going to use that as a boundary. I'm going to use these major roads as a boundary. And of course the zip code line / rail corridor as a boundary. Now I'm going to pick the coming soon, active under contract, pending and closed properties for the last 180 days. So these were the same 14 properties that we found when we were looking for the comparables, and we ended up comparing it to 3 of these. The price point runs from 200 to 280, so it's actually within a pretty narrow price range. So from here, what we would do is we'd go to Stats Tabular and just see what the market is for homes in this little pocket. So we see is coming soon. There are no active properties. Obviously, as an example, we're pretending like it is active, but for now, we'll just look at these homes as they stand with this status. So 4 pending and 9 closed. So that's 9 homes that sold over the past 6 months. So 1.5 homes sold per month. That means the absorption rate is 1.5 homes sell per month. Now we have 1 that's coming soon. So if we take the 1 that's coming soon divided by 1.5, that's less than 1 month to sell this property. So the hypothesis is that if no new homes were to come on the market after this 1 coming soon, how many months would it take for the market to absorb the current homes on the market? So if 1.5 homes sold per month in the past, the assumption is that this 1 home would sell within that first month. In order to determine how many homes sell per month, we need to look at the closed and pending properties. So that's 13 months have sold or pended in the last 6 months. So we'll do 9 plus 4 divided by 6. So the absorption rate means that is 2.16 homes sell per month. So the absorption rate is basically 2 homes sell per month in this little area. And given that we have one coming on the market, that goes in the active category, and we divide it by that absorption rate, it means it would take about a half a month for this to sell. If this number were 6, that's a balanced market. So essentially, there are 12 times as many buyers as sellers by this calculation. Another way of figuring the ratio of sellers to buyers is 9 plus 4 represent the number of buyers who demanded properties off of the market. So that's 13. And we only have one available home that represents one seller. So there's 13 buyers. We would divide it by 1. So it's 13. So 13 buyers compared to every one seller. Another thing that we're looking at is how long did it take on median for these closed homes to go under contract? It took 8 days. It took slightly longer for the more recently pended properties to go under contract, 13 days. That's really insignificant. Obviously, it's taking a little longer. That could be just seasonal, but still, that's amazing. A home, we want it to sell within 30 days. That's a normal market, and that's still well within the normal range. And then homes are selling on a median of 100% of the last asking. So as you can see, the minimum that a property sold was 93% of the last asking. The maximum was 108.8%. So one person got 6.9% off the last asking, and one other person paid 8.8% higher than the last asking. One party took 5 days to go under contract. One party took 32 days to go under contract. And of the 9, the middle one took 8 days. So half of them sold in less than 8 days, and half of them sold in more than 8 days. So 8 days is the median or the middle number. And similarly, one sold for 93.1%, one sold for 108.8%, and the middle one, number 5 in the lineup, sold for 100%. So some 4 sold for 100% or more, and 4 sold for 100% or less than the last asking. We will not know what these 4 sold for as a comparison to their last asking price until they settle. Now, the coming soon one, it's 0 days on the market. So when you're looking at properties to see how well priced they are, or if there's a seasonal fluctuation and the days on market are starting to get larger than these days, and let's say these days are larger than these days, well, then there might be a market slowdown, or these might be overpriced. Given that this is coming soon, it's not even on the market. This doesn't tell us much about pricing, given the days on market is 0. So if you want to use the market stats fill in the blank sheet in order to tell a story to your client, you'll download the file, add it to your Google Drive, and then make a copy, and then name it what it is. So 2306 Diamond, market stats, fill in the blank 2021. So you would just fill in 2306 Diamond. So this sheet is translating my thought process onto paper, and then from here you can look to see what is the story that these statistics tell us. So I'll start with filling out the subject property. It's 3 beds, 2 baths, 1,600 square feet. The lot size, we'll have to go back to here. I don't know if that'll translate well when I copy and paste it, but it's 6098 square feet. Oh, great, that worked out well. 6098 square feet. Finished basement, yes. Central air, yes. Parking, yes. Garage plus driveway. You can neaten this up if you like. For example, just get that all. It's not necessary though. So I'll make a note that it's a Cape Cod, and that might be an important distinction. That's 1.5 stories. I might make a mention of older but clean kitchen. There's wood floors. So some major differences that I'll find between this house and other properties. And it is a corner. Okay, so the way you fill out the search criteria, sometimes I'm going to only include things with or without a certain feature. So let me go back to my search results. So I didn't specify how many beds or baths. I just looked for all homes in this area. But now that I have results, I will say it's 3 to 5 beds, 1 to 3 baths. So 3 to 5 beds, 1 to 3 baths. And then in order to find the median square foot, in a small data set, all you need to do is organize it by square foot. There are 14, so find number 7 and 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. These are the two middle ones, so the median would be the average of these two. So 1375 plus 15 equals 2875 divided by 2 is 1437.50. We'll just round it up to 1348. Okay. Median sold price. So median sold price is sometimes interesting because it gives you a sense of, are buyers buying properties more quickly when they're priced higher because they're renovated and updated and they don't have to do anything? Or are they selling faster when they're priced lower? And so once we just take a note of these statistics, then we can see if there's a story that's being told. So 265 is that median sold price. And our subject property is asking 270. Okay, so do the results have the following: finished basement, central air, and parking? So they all do have parking and central air. Whether or not they all have finished basements is another story. Let's see. So basement type. So unfinished, unfinished, fully finished, full. So sometimes you'd have to look and see. This isn't as important because this is really us trying to get to apples comparison when we're looking for a specific comparable. But when we're looking at overall statistics, it's not going to matter as much, these individual features. But generally speaking, they all have central air, they all have parking, and then finished basements, there's both. I'm just going to bold all of those. Okay, so now we're going to transfer some of the information we see on the statistics. So we're looking for the number of active homes for sale. We saw 1 coming soon, and we saw 4 pending, and we saw 9 that had closed. So I'll show you where I found that. So we went back to Stats Tabular, 1 coming soon, 4 pending, and 9 closed. The next thing we're going to look at is the days on market for the active ones. So 0, it's a coming soon property. The pending ones took 13 days on median, and the sold ones took 8 days on median. Okay. There's sold price to original listing price and sold price to last list price. So things sold for a median of 100% of the last list price and for 100% of the original price. That means pricing was pretty spot on, such that there didn't, on median, need to be a price reduction in order to get an offer. So I'll put 100% there. And then I'll put 100% here. And so whenever this number is lower than this number, that means there was an overpricing issue. So they ended up getting a lot less compared to the original price. And when they lowered it, they got a higher percentage of the last list price. So when there's a difference between the two, I call that the overpricing percentage. So they didn't overprice it at all. And basically, when I'm helping a seller price a home, this tells me how far off the ultimate sold price can I price this home without risking it staying on the market. So in this case, we need to be spot on median to get an offer. So now we're going to translate some of the information here to over here. So the sold properties are 9, and the pending under contract properties are 4. And when you add those together, that's 13. So we did this on the calculator separately. And when you take 13 and you divide it by 6, that was the 2.16667, whatever, that sold per month. So that's the absorption rate. Just over 2 homes are selling per month. So now when we consider there's the 1 active home divided by how many homes sell per month, that gives us the months of inventory. So basically it's less than half a month of inventory. So as soon as this comes on the market, the expectation is it's going to sell within the month. If another home lists in the same time frame, that will likely sell in the first month. 5 to 7 months is considered a balanced market, 5 to 7 months of inventory. As you can see, we are less than half a month. So we sometimes talk about 6 months of inventory being a balanced market. So if 6 months is a balanced market, well, a half fits into 12 times. So that's the ratio of buyers to sellers, 12 times as many buyers to sellers. Put another way, you can see that we had 13 buyers demanding homes off the market divided by 1 active seller. So the ratio is 13 buyers to every seller. So given that we are less than 5 months of inventory, we are in a seller's market. Now, where it's useful, I will look at the pricing and see if that's giving us any indication. So the sold properties took 8 days and sold at a median of 265. The current properties that are more recently pended are at a lower median price point, but it took longer. So that could be seasonality, or it can mean that people will pay more if the property is more updated. And because this one's so new on the market, we really don't have enough information for that to be useful to us. So we could just say NA, not really applicable. And then down here, I don't necessarily fill this out for a buyer. I will just kind of do these calculations and translate this into the story for them. If you're doing this for a seller, this is where you could put in the names of the properties that best represented the subject property. And we did that in another video. And ultimately, those properties were selling in a range from 267 to 280. So the listing price on this one is 270. So they're definitely within the range of what the prior home sold for. And that's how you fill out the market stats fill in the blank form. So how I would use this with a seller is I would tell them that, 13 homes pended and sold in the last 6 months, and there's only 1 active seller on the market. That means we have a ratio of 13 buyers to every seller, which is great for you as a seller because that means there's very low inventory or very few choices for the many buyers that are out there. I will also tell them, the sold homes took 8 days on median to go under contract, and it's taking a little longer for the more recently pended homes to go under contract, 5 days longer. So almost twice as long, but still within a very short time frame. So this could mean that we are going into a slower season because of winter. It could be a slowing market just because of other factors and changes in the market. And just generally speaking, the data that we're looking at is historical data. So even though in the last 6 months, 13 buyers bought homes, that doesn't necessarily mean there are still 13 buyers on the market today. So anything that we, establish today as, market statistics or a pricing recommendation will be put to the test when we actually go live on the market, and we'll see how many showings we get, in the first 2 to 3 weeks. If we get 10 showings, no offers, that means we are overpriced. If we get 2 weeks and no showings, we're overpriced, and we need to course correct because the best time frame to get an offer is within that first 30 days. So another factor I will share with you, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, is that the sellers were asking on median 100% of what they got. Now, that doesn't mean that you can ask for whatever you want and you'll get it. What it means is that you need to be on target, spot on, within 0% of what somebody would pay in order for a buyer to make an offer. That said, somebody did actually pay 8.8% higher than the last asking price. So if you believe your home is worth 300, for example, but all of the comps are going up to 280 and buyers are capping their search, let's say at 280 or even 275, they won't see your property. But if, let's say, you were to ask for 275 because that's a reasonable threshold for buyers to stop looking at, and let's say we multiply that by 1.088, that shows you that somebody would actually pay $299 too on an asking price of $275. So we will only prolong getting a buyer and potentially chase getting a buyer over the winter months if we price it too high. If it's not going to sell for $299, $200, then we ought to price it where we think it might sell quickly at $275 and potentially solicit multiple buyers. So $275, we could easily get a $299 offer if indeed there are multiple buyers out there shopping for very few homes, and if they perceive your home as a great value. And then, of course, you'll want to look at them, the specific homes, again, from the other video, and discuss the pros and cons of the subject house to the other comparables and try to get them to see the home from a buyer's perspective and get them shopping as if they're a buyer looking for a value. And good luck.